Hey guys, Horrorman back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the 112 Collective Netflix Daredevil figure. Now, of course, this is part of the ongoing line of Mezco 112 Collective action figures. And if you're not really familiar with this line, it's basically like 6-inch scale high-end collectibles. They're almost like shrunken down Hot Toys. So pretty popular line, but it's not the cheapest line of figures. So just taking a look at this packaging, this is an exclusive, so of course you get that Mezco exclusive logo at the top with little Gomez's face. It says Marvel Daredevil with that big red glossy writing. You get a little Marvel logo at the bottom here, and then at the bottom left it actually says Marvel Daredevil as seen on Netflix. You just get the Daredevil logo and the 112 logo on the side. Over to the back is the real money shot. You get some really cool Daredevil artwork here. You got the red Daredevil suit at the top, which is very comic inspired. You got Kingpin just below him on the right, and then of course you get the Vigilante Daredevil in his costume there. And then onto the bottom, you just get the Mezco logos, warnings, UPC codes, Marvel logo, things like that. Now with the exclusive packaging, it's kind of like a step down from the standard packaging. You don't really get the slip cover like you do with the regular packaging. So it's mainly just going to be just like a little box with the flap at the top here, and it just comes out like that. You get your 112. What to do, what not to do with this figure. Basically says don't overpose it, things like that. It's not for kids. And then when you pull this out, you end up with just a plastic packaging. You can see it's protected really well in there. It's got like the stand in the back, so it's like a couple layers of plastic. So let's go ahead and get this out of that plastic and get a closer look. Alright, so it does come with some interchangeable pieces and accessories, but before we get to all of that, let's just go ahead and start with this head sculpt. And I think they've done an excellent job here. Now, of course, this is based off of the Season 1 Vigilante Daredevil, which, in my opinion, was the coolest. It really reminded me of like the Frank Miller, comics, which was more gritty, and I absolutely love that. So this outfit is going to be the all-black suit with that black bandana. Now, what I love what they've done here is you could still kind of see the shape of his face through the mask, which is awesome. So you can kind of see his eyebrows and his nose. So just looking at the back of the head, the bandana is really well done. You can see the different wrinkles and different kind of like technique they've used to make it look like it's just kind of hanging around or just kind of wrapped around itself. I just really like the way they've done this. Now, as far as I could tell, I can't get this to move, so I don't think there's any kind of posability there, but I still think it looks really nice. And you can see just from the side view here, again, the same technique. You can see how it's got those wrinkles to where it looks like he's stretched or pulled the fabric back tighter to tie it, and I just really like the wrinkles they've done there, and you can see a bit of like a 5 o'clock shadow, and again you can see just kind of like the shape of his eyes kind of through that mask a little bit, which is just a really nice job, really nice sculpt. But overall I think it looks a lot like Charlie Cox, so I think they've done really nice with that likeness as well. Now, one thing about this that you'll notice is that the neck and the head are one piece, and that's going to be something that people might complain about. So all the articulation is not going to be cut on like the chin area, so it's all done at the neck peg. What's nice about it is you do get really nice clean lines, so you don't have that separation, but you will lose a little bit of articulation in that head. Now, besides this head sculpt, you do get one additional sculpt, which is basically going to be the battle damaged head sculpt. And I think they've done a really nice job here. You can see he's got a slight open mouth expression, and you can see he's got the bloody lip and the blood kind of coming down from his eye. Now to interchange that, you just want to pop off this head, which isn't too hard at all. And like I said, the way the neck and head are done, there's just no cut around the head, so the neck and head are all one piece. So you want to pop this other head on, and it goes on fairly easily. And once you have that securely on, you can see this is a really great option for this figure. Again, the likeness is really well done in my opinion. Even though we only see half of his face, I could definitely tell it's Charlie Cox, which is awesome. And you can see again, you can see he's kind of like the nose and his brow or his like eyebrows. You can kind of see it through the mask there. I really love the way they've done the blood around the mouth. Just looking at like that 3/4 view, you really see all the damage done here. So whoever hit him was definitely right-handed. But you can see that top lip, the bottom lip, and just a little bit of that eye. He's really got some damage done. And again, you know, you have the bandana just kind of flowing straight down. Alright, and just taking a look at the details in the rest of the figure, I want to start with the gloves and the gauntlets. Now if you look at the gauntlets here, you can see it's got like a texture to the actual fabric, and I really like that. It kind of gives it this ninja armor type of style, but not, you know, it's very subtle. Now if you watch the season 3, he actually does have the kind of like wraps around his arms, but in the season 1 it was a much different, much more low-key design, and actually maybe a lower end design, but I think the look is really cool. And if you look at the back side of these gloves, you can see that it's much smoother, more like a leather type of look, so you don't get that same texture on the inside, just the outside. And I think that even makes it look more like that ninja armor. And looking at the suit overall, you really just have a lot of black going on, which is cool. You have some kind of shinier black, some dull black, but for the most part it's just a black suit. But you do have some things that kind of break it up a little bit. So you have like the striping across his chest, like toward the shoulders, which is nice, and that's on the front, and it's also on the back, which is really cool. And then of course you do, if you turn to the side, you can kind of see he's got this little zipper, like a little line here, which is actually a zipper pocket. There's like a little zipper that they've kind of done on the fabric here. And then you also get his nice belt, which is textured. And you can see the belt buckle here and all the different kind of textures all going through on the belt. Now, one word of warning, there's a little glue in between some of these little notches on the belt, and my belt actually popped out a little bit right out of the box, so that was kind of disappointing. I still haven't put any glue on it, and I kind of just tucked it behind there, but it seemed to hold pretty well. And he does have a little storage on his right thigh here, so you can actually store his billy clubs away, and I like the way they've done this. Again, it's that kind of shinier black instead of the dull, so it kind of balances out a little bit. And you have the two straps going around the thigh there, so I think they've done a good job with that. And they've done a really nice job with these shoes as well. You really see a little design on the shoes, same with the back. So really nice, and they got that texturing going on just like the belt. And then you do have two peg holes on the bottom of the feet, as well as some tread. And he does stand pretty well. So besides the head sculpt, you do get some more interchangeable parts, which are basically just going to be some extra hands. You do get two hands for holding the billy clubs, and you can see there's just a little circle kind of in these, so he's able to hold them. And again, you know, the work on the hands is done just like the body. You know, it's texturing and really good how they got the pattern on there. And then you also get these extra hands, which are kind of more relaxed hands, and these can probably still hold the billy clubs, but just in more of a relaxed position. So that's pretty much it as far as the hands, but you also, of course, get the fisted hands, which are on the figure. Switching the hand out is fairly simple. In case you want to put those billy clubs in the hand, you're just going to pull that hand out, and you can see it's just that little peg we're kind of used to with Mezco. You got the little hole on one side, pop that right in, and there you have your interchangeable hand. And here he is holding the billy clubs in each hand. Now, there isn't really much texture to the billy clubs. You really can't see any like wood grain or anything like that. But you can kind of see some nicks and things like that in them. And then you can also store these, of course, on that sheath that we looked over. And then you just want to slip that down into here. And they store nice and tight in there. So if you flip him over, they're definitely not going to fall down. So I'll always love having weapon storage on a figure. That's always nice. And you do get a couple extra little accessories here. First and foremost, you do get your little bag to hold all your different parts, and it's got that 112 label on there, so you could write the name, Vigilante Daredevil, whatever. But you also get this stand. Now here's the base for it, and it just says Marvel with that big Daredevil logo going across it, and then you can make your figure stand. Alright, so just going over the articulation here, one thing I want to talk about real quick is basically what this little like warning thing kind of tells you. And you know, just know your limits. You know, don't overly pose this thing in some dramatic pose just for a picture, because man, these clothes, not to say they would easily rip, but it's definitely possible to rip them. Alright, so get back to the articulation here. Like we've said, or like we've gone over already, the head and the neck are one piece, so you're not going to be able to get that articulation under this chin here. That being said, you do get a good range of motion, so you can look up pretty far and look down far enough. He can also tilt his head pretty good, so you can get some good expression there, so I do really like that. The arms can go out pretty far, and they can go down pretty far. Alright, go up about that, so that's good. It appears to only have a single jointed elbow, but I really can't tell, but I'm thinking that's a single joint. You do get some extra articulation here. You can kind of swing the arm around, probably full 360. You get plenty of wrist articulation, which is nice. And then as far as the ab crunch, there really isn't much there. It could bend, but there isn't much there. There really isn't much back either. You can go back pretty far, but there just isn't much at that. There's nothing at that ab crunch. It's all just that that top abdomen area, or his chest is the only thing you're really going to get articulation with. But it does still move really good. You can go pretty far out with a kick, and he can go back. And you can see that little belt I was talking about. I gotta glue that down. That definitely popped out again. You do have a double jointed knee, and there is a thigh swivel. There's a swivel at the boot, like the top of the boot. You can got a little down, very little motion in that boot itself. Might just need to be warmed up. And you do get some ankle pivot. So I think I hit most of the articulation points. So for the first comparison, here he is next to a custom Punisher in that Mezco 112 style, and also the New York Comic Con exclusive Mezco Wolverine. And you can see these guys scale really nicely together. I'm actually surprised that Punisher isn't as big as Daredevil, but overall I think these look really cool next to each other. And here he is next to the only other 112 figures I have, so sorry for the lack of 112 comparisons. But But here he is next to the Part 3 Friday the 13th Jason and the Halloween 1978 Michael Myers. And I don't like the size up here, and it's really not these guys' fault as much as it is Jason. I mean, Jason is definitely way too small, and I thought that when I originally got it, but now it's even worse. So he's just too small. But I do like the size height comparison between Michael Myers. And here he is next to a couple Marvel Legends. You have this Tony Stark, which the body is from that Target exclusive Avengers Endgame 2-pack, but it is a custom Tony Stark head. And then you have the Ronin figure, which is using the head sculpt from the Avengers 2-pack Hawkeye. So pretty cool. I think they actually scale pretty well together. Alright, now venturing outside of Mezco and Marvel, here he is next to another Hasbro line. You have the Power Rangers Tommy, or White Ranger, and he scales a little bit too small. And then you have the NECA Toys Jason figure, which he's a little too tall. But you can see how these kind of scale up together. So this is 6-inch, but then the NECA line is 7-inch scale. But you can see how 6-inch varies so much. It doesn't really match up well next to that White Ranger. And here he is next to the Joker, which is the Mafex 2.0 Dark Knight Joker. And then you have the NECA Toys Batman Begins Batman. Alright, and for you Ninja Turtles fans looking to get the perfect Daredevil size comparison to some of the best Ninja Turtles out there, here is the Mirage Comics Raphael and the 1990 movie Raphael, and both of those are made by NECA Toys. Now you can see with the Mirage Comics version, he's actually 6-inch scale, whereas the 1990 movie version is done in 7-inch scale. And that's just kind of how NECA did the lines. Same with that cartoon line that NECA did, those are mostly 6-inch scale. So he kind of fits better with the Mirage version, because Turtles are really meant to be smaller. But since he's the comic version, he doesn't really reflect the real, the real look of this one, of course. So I think they can kind of fit, with the 1990. It's just Daredevil might be just a little short, but I don't know. It's pretty close. I think I can make this work. And for the final comparison, here he is next to the NECA Toys Mirage Foot Soldier, the Mirage Shredder with a custom painted head sculpt. Both of those are made by NECA. And then you have him with the Articulated Icon Feudal Ninja series. And you can see that the scale kind of varies. I think he's a little too big for the Feudal Ninjas. But the Mirage Comics NECA figures, man, they fit perfect. It's just in that comic style. They don't really look, I guess, as pleasing as far as like fitting in together. But that scale is perfect. So if you want somebody to kind of stand in as ninjas to fight Daredevil, I think the foot is a nice stand-in for the hand. Alright, so that's my review of the 112 Collective Vigilante Daredevil figure. And overall, man, I am really happy with this figure. And I know I say that a lot about these figures, but man, I've been looking forward to this Netflix Daredevil for some time. I would say since the actual show premiered. I just was really big on this design, even though it's very simple. I just really like it, and it, just right off the bat, it reminded me of like kind of Batman Begins. That's kind of the feel I got from it. And I think the figure has translated much better than people probably would have thought such a simple design would have translated. I feel like overall it just really nailed the look of Charlie Cox and how he looked in this Season 1 outfit. I really have no complaints about the figure, except for just that little QC flub on the belt. But, I think it's just the glue kind of just popped out. No big deal. I can fix that. But I just think the overall look of this version just is awesome, man. Now, I've seen the red one, like after he gets his final suit. I can't say I'm as big a fan of that. Something about the body comes off a little thick. But I just think this one just nails it. But yeah, again, I'm a huge fan of it. I think if you're a fan of the first season or even the third season of Daredevil and you really like that look, this is definitely your best bet. But it's also your only bet because there's no Marvel Legends version. They didn't even make a Hot Toys version of this. This is the only official version of this design made. So if you're looking to get a Netflix Daredevil, this is definitely the one you need. So I do wish I had a couple Daredevil Marvel Legends to kind of compare him to, but man, he looks awesome with this Raphael, and I am very happy with this figure. Again, I can't say enough good things about it. So if you could find it, you're gonna have to go on the aftermarket, so eBay, things like that. So if you could find a deal for maybe 120, you could probably pull the trigger on that. I paid about $80 or so through Mezco because it was an exclusive, but like I said, it was a tough one to get. So thanks for watching my review. Please leave a comment or question, like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, see ya!